Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, we're diving into the mind bending world of genes. But don't worry, this isn't just another boring science lesson. Instead, think of it how our environment, our food, and even our thoughts can flip the switch on our genes. Yep, you heard that right. So buckle up, because by the end of this video, you might believe you have superpowers. Let's get into it. All right, so let's break it down. We all know that genes are like the instruction manuals for our bodies. They tell our cells how to make proteins, which are the building blocks of, well, pretty much everything. Think of them as little tiny construction workers in your body, always hammering away to keep things running smoothly. But here's the kicker: those instructions aren't set in stone. They're more like a playlist that can change depending on your choices. So, what makes our genes choose a different playlist? The answer lies in a fancy term called epigenetics. But don't let that name scare you. It's just a fancy way of saying that our genes are dynamic, not static. They're always changing based on our environment and our lifestyle that we choose. Think of your genes like a DJ mixing music. What you eat, where you live, even what you think are the tracks that make a unique, personalized song just for you. Pretty cool, right? Let's break this down a little bit. First, there's the environment. This is a biggie. Imagine your jeans are sitting in a comfy recliner just chilling. And if you're in a polluted city with smog and junk in the air, those genes might start to freak out and turn on stress responses. But if you're breathing in fresh, clean mountain air, they might switch to relax and repair mode. It's like your genes are constantly eavesdropping on the environment and adjusting their music to match the vibe. And then there's food. You know that saying, you are what you eat? It's not just something your grandma used to get you to eat your vegetables. When you eat a healthy, nutrient rich foods, it's like sending your genes a love letter that says, hey, let's make some awesome anti inflammatory proteins today. But when you chow down on junk food, it's more like sending them a text that reads, sorry, but we're going to need some help cleaning up this mess. Your genes are the ultimate multitaskers, but even they can't work miracles without the right fuel. Now, buckle up, because this is where it gets even more mind blowing. Your thoughts and emotions can also flip those genetic switches. Yeah, you heard me. Nikola Tesla, one of the greatest minds ever, said, and I quote, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, vibration, and frequency." And guess what? This totally applies to our bodies. And if our body represents our past experiences and choices, then our mood is our vibration and our feelings is the frequency. So everything that we've been through in our lives, all the experiences that we've had, all the thoughts that we've had, it gets stored into our bodies. So let me say it like this: our thoughts and feelings can dictate whether our genes open up or they tighten up. Those two instances where our genes open and then close, basically, is based on what we feel and what we think. When we think of something pleasant, what happens with our genes? Our genes open up, and then our bodies can access them, even more different genes, different proteins can be made. Living in a state of love and gratitude, it opens up the genes so that we can accept and produce proteins that can change your biochemistry and then make your body work in a good way. And that alters our biochemistry. When our biochemistry is altered, then our functioning of our body gets altered. So by all that information then gets stored into a body, gets stored into our body. So if we're in a state of always watching the news, for example, all those negative images get portrayed and then it tightens up the gene and it doesn't have access to any other proteins except for fight or flight or inflammatory proteins or cancer proteins. Those are the only options that they have. So what choice does the body have? That changes the biochemistry in the body and that gets stored into the body. And when that gets stored into a body, then that produces extra fat. It produces lesions like in heart disease or stroke. Uh, it produces all these negative effects that our body has. So our body is then a representation of our past experiences. And their past experiences are then what makes the biochemistry. So our biochemistry dictates what our body's going to look like. So our body is a stored vessel. It's a vessel basically, and it stores all that information. And how you look right now is everything that's ever happened to you is stored right into that body. And it's the same is true as what we eat. So the foods that we crave, for example, are dictated from our body. Our body craves certain foods. And if our biochemistry is such a way where it's craving bad food, that means that there's something going on in our body that is craving this bad food, like the deep fried food. All this stress response, all these stress hormones, all these stress proteins are being produced, and our body wants, you know, our body is a certain biochemical way. It doesn't have access to any other proteins except for stress response ones. And your body's going to produce those proteins based on that feeling. So your feelings then alter biochemistry in your body. It's the same thing if your body if you're in a state of feeling love and gratitude, then that gets translated back into your body and opens up the gene. And it opens it up so that it can have access to the other parts of the gene that can produce good proteins, proteins like stuff that's going to heal the body, anti-inflammatory proteins, stuff like that, anti-cancer proteins. So all these proteins then become accessible when we live in a state of love and gratitude, because our environment dictates what we think, and if our environment and our environment also dictates what we eat. So if we're always in a state of saying to ourselves that we're not worthy of anything else, when we're down on ourselves, that dictates negative emotions, that dictates a negative feeling. And then because of the feeling is lowered, our body then tightens up the genes and then it won't accept anything else other than these stress responses. And by living in an environment where a negative environment where there's always loud yelling going on, or there's something in the environment that's causing a negative emotion, and that creates a feeling of not really feeling good about yourself, then that will dictate what you eat, and that will dictate how you feel, and then that changes your biochemistry in your body to produce illness in our bodies. Our bodies are only a stored vessel, and then from that stored vessel is how we're supposed to live our lives. So think of it like this: if you're always tuned into Stress FM, your genes are going to start making a whole bunch of stress related proteins. But if you dial into Gratitude Grove or Chill Out Central, you're sending a signal that says, hey, it's safe here. Let's produce some healing proteins. Your thoughts are so powerful. They're powerful enough to change your biochemistry. This is why epigenetics is such a game changer. It tells us that our genes are not static or unchangeable. They're more like clay, ready to be molded by the choices we make. And when it comes to your health, you want to be the sculptor, not the bystander. Okay, so what does this all mean in practical terms? It means you have the power to rewrite your genetic story. Your parents may have handed you a genetic script, but guess what? You can be the editor. You can change the plot, add some better characters, like Healthy Eating Hero or Mindfulness Master, and delete some of the old scenes that don't serve you anymore. So next time you're stressed out, reaching for that pint of ice cream, or stuck in negative thoughts, remember, you have the ability to change the station, to feed your genes good vibes, good food, and a positive environment. You're the DJ, the sculptor, the author, pick your metaphor. The important thing is, you're in control. So, can lifestyle choices physically alter genes? You bet you they can. And the best part? You get to choose the playlist. Will you keep spinning the same old tracks? Or will you mix them in some new, healthier beats? Remember, your genes are always listening, so make sure you're playing them a tune worth dancing to. Thanks for hanging out with me today. And remember, our lifestyle is our superpower. Hopefully, I gave you some things to think about, that how our environment, thoughts, and feelings can alter our biochemistry and either we live in health or if we live in disease. Catch you in the next video. Crazy.